Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. I'm your host, Mark, and it's a special episode because when you're on the day that this episode releases, it's Christmas Eve 2023, and I figured, hey, it's the first year here on the channel that we have Christmas, and I thought I'll put together my 10 favorite Christmas things to watch on the television leading up to the big day. And so it's not in any particular order. However, and I don't know how my shirt got all wrinkled. Like I've been wearing it all day and it's like, boom, wrinkled. So I apologize. The aesthetic, look of my shirt isn't good. But I'm a big Christmas guy. I love Christmas. I love watching Christmas movies. I love just celebrating kind of the season of Christmas. I love decorating. I love getting ready for it. I like going shopping. I don't like spending money, but I do enjoy wrapping gifts and just, enjoying family around the holidays. And so hopefully when you're watching this, you will have either spent time with family, got whatever you asked for, whatever Santa brought you. Hopefully it was great. And I'm gonna run down my 10 favorite Christmas things to watch. And there's not any particular order, but start off with Home Alone, right? A classic from 1990. Young Macaulay Culkin. He just got his star on Hollywood Boulevard. It's something I didn't know. He's married to Brenda Song, which is another Disney child actress. Anyways, it's directed by John Hughes. I'm sorry, written by John Hughes, directed by Chris Columbus. And I kind of lump Home Alone 1 and 2 together. It's a classic. They're both classics. The characters are great. The whole movie is about mischief and mischievous guys who are trying to just burglarize homes, and they're not really dangerous guys, right? I think the whole thing since the internet existed is that Macaulay Culkin was the bad guy, or Kevin was the bad guy in this one. But anyway, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are great as Harry and Marv. The first one is a classic. The second one, while transposes the setting to New York City, is still a classic in my opinion, but it's just not quite as good as Home Alone, the first one. And it just every year, and sometimes I watch it twice. I'm not a big movie watcher guy. I figure, there's only a handful of movies that I'll put on more than once. But Home Alone is one that you can put on the background because God bless you if you haven't seen it. But put it on the background, step out, go take a poop, unwrap some gifts, play with the things you got, and then come back and you're like, oh, that's my favorite part. Let's go. And there's a lot of, as I've gotten older, there's a lot of heart in Home Alone. His mom and dad are pretty terrible as parents. His family's pretty terrible, actually. But the conversations that he has with Robert Blossom character Marley, R.I.P. But it's just. It's good. This old man having this heartfelt conversation about family and getting advice from this 8-year-old. And then at the end of the movie, it all comes together and you're just like, oh, that's so good. It's just, when you're little and you watch this movie, you're watching it because you're rooting for Kevin to beat the bad guys. But then when you watch this movie when you're an older guy, especially as a parent, you're really rooting for Marley. in his tribulation. So, anyways, Home Alone 1 and 2. You can, I think it's on. They're on Disney Plus, and I don't know where it's streaming. But if you haven't watched it, it's on Stars. You can find it there. Let's go with, all right. What's my second one? National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Classic. All-time classic. I remember watching this as a kid, and my grandfather, this is his favorite Christmas movie. Directed by Jeremiah Chechik, and another one written by John Hughes, man. I can't wait for Jeff to do John Hughes chronologically. That's an appointment listening, and if they ever have it a YouTube viewing. But anyways, Chevy Chase, in the movie he's chasing a Christmas bonus, and he's making all sorts of plans. And then, and he's an asshole to the entire family, because he's just like, let's just get this over with so we can enjoy Christmas. And all the family comes over, and he's got to, put on as a host. And I'm sure everybody can kind of somewhat relate to this, is that when you have a whole bunch of family over at your house on any type of holiday, and you have to host, it can be overwhelming, and Beverly D'Angelo, his character of Ellen, his wife, I feel like she's a pretty good wife in this film, and it's just, I love the shenanigans, right, and the deadpan humor, and the witty humor. I mean, it's a sign of John Hughes film, right? But Chevy Chase is the perfect actor to play a lovable asshole. And so every year when I put this movie on, my youngest daughter saw it for the first time a couple years ago, and she's like, he's a jerk. And I was like, yeah, but look at what's going on around him. And it's a lot of Christmas movies and some other films on my list. They take direct inspiration for their character in their Christmas films from this movie, I feel like. And so a pioneer film, all-time classic, just great. It's timeless, right? So I don't know where it's streaming, where that one's streaming. Oh, Hulu and Max. You can get it if you got those two. What's next? Elf. Modern classic, right? Almost instant. Yeah, I mean, you're talking like a year after it came over, man, everybody was like, let's watch Elf at Christmas and this and that. And I remember when I went and saw it in the theaters. I don't think it came out. I think it came out it did come out in November. I was in high school, and when it came out, and I just remember being like, it's just a movie that just kind of warms you. It's just, the entire movie you're smiling. Will Ferrell completely loses himself playing Will Ferrell as an elf, but it's just that kid-like wonder that he can portray as an actor for this character. And then it's directed by Jon Favreau, and one of his early starts, and it kind of propelled him to I don't know if I'd call him an A-list director. I mean, I guess he is, because he's so tied into Star Wars now. He's definitely like an in-demand director. I just don't know if I would put him in the like elite category of directors. But Elf, I mean, it's the James Caan being that asshole dad. Zooey Deschanel being this love interest of Buddy. It's just, it's so good. And Bob Newhart as the Papa Elf, Mary Steenburgen. Just, I mean, It's so good. The casting's so good here, and everybody like I imagine when this movie was made, like, just everybody cracks up after every single take. It's because the movie's hilarious, and from what I understand, it was like, the camera crew followed Will Ferrell around New York City as he just went to different businesses and acted like this elf. And I'm sure they thought it was probably like an SNL bit or something, but it's so good, and it's brisk, so it's not, you're not investing a ton of time. It's an hour 30. It's just so good, and like, I'm actually surprised that I think it's a Universal film, but I'm surprised that the movie studio didn't like demand it. It wasn't because it wasn't critically, not critically, financially, like a huge blockbuster. I actually don't know. Let's look up how much it made. How much did the movie Elf make? Oh shit. Yeah, well, it made its gross revenue is $228 million, and Elf budget on a $33 million budget. That's crazy. All right, so scratch all that. It was a gigantic financial success, and so I'm really puzzled why they didn't entertain a second film. But it's great as a one-off, instant classic. You throw it on every year. It's on TV all the time now. It's just, and it's got great one-liners. You smell like beef and cheese, and Santa, I know him. And so it's a great film to celebrate the season. And it kind of captures that whimsical Christmas spirit, especially set in New York City, and Will Ferrell. I mean, it's great. I love it. Where is it streaming? I actually don't know. AMC Plus if you have Prime, Hulu, and Prime. Not Prime, Max. So yeah, it's pretty much everywhere you look for it. There's still time because this is going to drop at 6 a.m. Christmas Eve. So you've got time to watch all these movies. Maybe not all the movies, but you got time to parse through this list and go, Mark was right. Let me put this on before Christmas or even on Christmas. What's next? Looking at my list. The Santa Claus. Has been discussed on the pod, here on the YouTube. I'm a giant Tim Allen fan. The man can do no wrong. I mean, I know he's kind of they've tried to cancel him once or twice before, but you can't keep a good Tim Allen down. But when this came out in 1994, Tim Allen was at the peak of his popularity. Home Improvement had been on for several years. He was a giant stand-up comic. And he just embodied Santa, right? He was so jovial and so just kind of larger than life. And again, an asshole dad. An asshole dad becomes Santa and learns how to love his family, right? And mainly his son. And he loves his son in the film, but you know what I mean. It's directed by John Pasquin, who is a Tim Allen director. Most of his films were Tim Allen driven. And then he also directed most of the episodes for Home Improvement. He also directed most of the episodes for Last Man Standing, which is Tim Allen's most recent show. He directed some other 90s Tim Allen films, but just a Tim Allen guy, right? I don't know if when this film was made that they were they thought that this would become a classic, but all-time great Christmas film. The only thing I absolutely can't stand about this movie is Eric Lloyd as Charlie Calvin. He sucks. He's so terrible. I mean, most child actors are, but he is so terrible. I hate every scene he's in, and the fact that they kept bringing him back in the future films was just terrible. Just terrible. He's so terrible. But I love Judge Reinhold and Wendy Crewson as Charlie's mom and stepdad, especially Reinhold. He's perfect as Neil. Kind of just this deadpan funny guy. David Krumholtz, really good as Bernard, the head elf, and just there's so much to love here. I love it. Anytime it's on, I will stop and watch it. It doesn't matter where in the movie it is. It could be the last 5 minutes. It could be the first 5 minutes. I'm parking my ass and watching Tim Allen become Santa, and it's great. It's because he does, and I love him for it. But you can find this one. It's not streaming anywhere, which is weird. But you can rent it. But we're not fans of renting things here in this house. So what else? We got, this is one of my favorites. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, from 2000, starring Jim Carrey as the Grinch, and directed by, Ron Howard, which is crazy in its own right, is because another classic. It's Jim Carrey is amazing, and talk about Will Ferrell getting lost in the character playing Will Ferrell as an elf. We're talking Jim Carrey playing Jim Carrey as the Grinch, and it's amazing. And the sets here are fantastic. I cannot believe Universal didn't make a sequel to this. It's because actually I don't know how much money this one made either. All right, let's look at it. Hold on. How the Grinch Stole Christmas budget. Let's look that up first. All right. It didn't pop up right away. That's not a good sign. But let's see. Production budget was $123 million. That's a lot for 2000. Okay. All right, and then gross. It did $345 million. Okay, it made its money. Let's go, Universal. Why don't you make a sequel? Jim Carrey's great. I love that dude. Him as the Grinch, all time great. The little girl that plays, she's not little anymore. Her name's Taylor Momsen. She's got her own band, by the way. It's like an alt rock band called the Pretty Reckless. They're pretty dope. But her talk about good child actors. Taylor Momsen as Cindy Lou Who as I don't even know how old she was. 8, 9 years old in this film. All time great. Just really good. Playing off of Jim Carrey. We have Jeffrey Tambor, who plays Mayhew, the mayor. Christine Baranski as Martha May. Who else? We got Molly Shannon as Betty Lou Who. Clint Howard. I didn't realize he was in this movie. Anyway, I mean, it's just so good. It's just a classic. It's just, you put it on and you're watching it and you smile. It's because Jim Carrey embodies the Grinch. And it's just so good. I love it. Where is this one streaming at? Ooh, Freeform, Peacock. Okay. Freeform is on Prime, I think. That's a channel on Prime, and then you can rent it. But don't miss out, because if you haven't watched it this year, that should be the first one. After you watch this should be the first episode first film you throw on, because it's so good. I did see, it was on, I have Hulu Live TV, and it was on, I don't know what channel, but maybe USA or TBS on some one of those channels. But it was the deleted scene version, and it was weird, is because like I've seen the deleted scenes before, but it's been a long time. But I think I saw them when the original DVD came out, and these were actually, it was the entire movie with the deleted scenes in the film. And so, like on the DVD, it's like a special feature function. You just watch deleted scenes. And this one, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember. That's not what happened. And it turns out it's a deleted scene, and I'm just like, I don't know if I like that. I wasn't a fan of watching the deleted scene version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. But if you haven't watched it, please do. Your Christmas isn't complete without it. What else? Oh, another favorite. And we've actually reviewed it here on the podcast, talked about it, so I won't talk about it very long. But it's Jingle All the Way, from 1996, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. I love Arnold. I'm not gonna call this one a classic, but it is appointment viewing at Christmas time here in my house because of how Arnold, asshole dad. I mean, come on. And I don't actually know if Christmas Vacation started the asshole dad, Christmas movie thing, but that's from what I remember, and it's like where I draw it because like Chevy Chase's character is etched in my brain as such an asshole. But Arnold Schwarzenegger here is he's a likable asshole. But he's trying to win back his son's admiration by getting him a toy on Christmas Eve, and shenanigans ensue between him and Sinbad, and he gets to become a superhero. And me and Jeff talked about it on our episode, but the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger never got to play a superhero. He played he played a comic book character, but as a bad guy, which was terrible. But he just looks the part. You throw a superhero costume on him, he just looks the part. It's great. But I really enjoyed it. Jake Lloyd is fine. I think episode 1 came out after this. I don't know. Me and Jeff talked about it, but just really good. It's not streaming anywhere. These movies come and go so quickly off of these streaming services. But anyways, it's an hour 30, man. Do it. Give it a watch. What else? Another Tim Allen. I got them all pulled up on IMDb on my browser here. And I didn't remember the order. But it's Christmas with the Cranks. And this is another movie I love, is because it's Tim Allen, and he's not an asshole dad. He's just kind of an asshole. Him and his wife, they have a grown daughter, and she's not coming home for Christmas. So they're like, hey, let's just skip Christmas this year. Even though they live on this street in this neighborhood that always does big Christmas things, the Cranks always have a big Christmas party. And so the neighborhood kind of turns against them and starts guilt tripping them into, hey, why don't you ever... Why aren't you doing these Christmas things? And he's just wanting to go on this cruise. They've decided they're going on this cruise. But anyways, at the last second, the daughter calls, and she's like, hey, I'm coming home. And they're like, oh, fuck. We got to throw all this stuff together at the last minute, so she doesn't think that we were trying to skip Christmas. And so the movie is it's funny, right? But it's got a lot of heart. It's because him and his neighbor, Tim Allen and his neighbors are beefing, but he starts beefing with the old guy across the street, and then he later finds out the old guy's got cancer. And they reconcile, and everybody comes together at the last second. And it's just Tim Allen, and this is 2004, so it's almost 20 years old. But it's significant. It's 10 years after the Santa Claus. And I think the Santa Claus 2 had even been released at that time. So he's kind of the Christmas guy, but he's playing like an everyman guy here. and he just wants to go on a cruise, and he ends up giving the cruise tickets to the family across the street. And I really like it. It's Jamie Lee Curtis is funny. She's got a lot of funny moments, deadpan humor, and it's kind of an outside the box role for her. But I really like it. So it's a staple in my house. It's an hour 30. And you can find it on Prime and AMC Plus. So you're not missing out. Who is it directed by? Oh, and this is funny. So Chris Columbus, who directed The Santa Claus, is a writer here on this one. But you know who else is a writer? John fucking Grissom. The murder guy, he was probably in the 90s, early 2000s. He was the, Times, New York Times bestseller list guy. But Chris Columbus and John Grisham are credited as the two writers here. It blows my mind. But it's directed by Joe Roth, who I don't really know by name. He's more of a producer. He's only got 6 directing credits. And I have not seen anything else. He did Revenge of the Nerds too. Interesting. And they did American Sweethearts and then Freedom Land, which I don't think I've seen. Anyways, it's good. I like it. Staple. Let's go. All right, another one that it's my wife's favorite, I think. But we always seem to put it on, and it's not one of my favorites. So I know it shouldn't be on the list. But it's Scrooged, and starring Bill Murray, and directed by Richard Donner, and it's one of those that it looks like an 80s film. Bill Murray is hilarious in it. I enjoy him in this. I enjoy him as this dick-ish type character. And the modern telling of A Christmas Carol. It's good. It's good, and it is a Christmas film through and through. So I just every year I watch it and I'm just like, it's okay. But I watch it every year. It's weird. And so I'm not really going to talk about it that much, but it's on Pluto TV if you want to watch it. It's also on Prime. The practical effects in this are pretty good too, with the ghost and the some of the peril stuff that Bill Murray goes through. But anyways, it's fine. It's fine. This is not a movie. I mean, it plays like a movie, but it's not a movie, and it's got all the characters from a movie. But it's the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. It's only like what, a year old now. But it's only 45 minutes. But it's so good. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's directed by James Gunn. It is written by James Gunn. It's got all of the Guardian characters in it, even though it follows pretty much Mantis and Drax, and they have great chemistry in this film special. But as they go on a journey to Earth to kidnap Kevin Bacon, bring him back to Chris Pratt because he's sad, and they want his Christmas to be a happy time. He's sad because he's mourning the death of Gamora. But it's just, I love it. It's so heartwarming. The opening musical number is really good. And then just, Drax, what's his face, deadpan humor, Dave Bautista. He's just, I love his character. I love him as that character. And Palm Clementif as Mantis is really good. She's one of the best Marvel characters, full stop, I think. because like she gets to embody all the emotion in her character. But anyways, it's really good. It's 45 minutes. It's on Disney Plus. And it's just a good segue. It's a good segue away from these characters in the MCU, and it, by the end of it, you really feel happy because these characters are so lovable, and especially the adventure that Mantis and Drax go on in Hollywood, on Earth, really good. I love it. It's actually something I haven't watched yet. I'm gonna go throw it on right after this. Last but not least, an oddball pick, I think, but watched it twice last year and watched it once already this year. It's the Apple TV Plus original, Spirited, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. And it is, essentially, it's a musical retelling of A Christmas Carol, with some twists and turns along the way. But Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell are fantastic. They play so well off each other. They're just so good. It's so good. It's really good. And I would not have thought Ryan Reynolds in a musical would have been good. I think I would have probably cast somebody other than Will Ferrell because, he's not the world's best singer. But, a Hugh Jackman would have been good. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, let's go. But this one's on Apple TV Plus. And it's not a classic, but it's something that I will kind of go out of my way to watch annually. It is a little bit on the longer side. It's at 2 hours, and most Christmas films, to me, they need to be an hour, $1.30. And you can get in, get out, get your Christmas joy, and move on. But there's enough good times here in this film to make it not feel like 2 hours. So, anyways, that's my list. We got the Home Alones, the Christmas Vacation, Elf, the Santa Claus, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Jingle All the Way, Christmas with the Cranks, Scrooged, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and Spirited. If you want, you can throw your favorite holiday films. What do you play annually in your house? What do your kids like? In the comments, let me know. And maybe from reading your comments, I'll develop some new favorites. But really, I want to say thank you to everybody that's watched this channel, everybody that's subscribed to the channel. Thank you. The channel's only about 6 months old, and I'm getting constant updates from YouTube saying, your views are up and up. And just want to say thank you. And in this time of the season of giving, and in the season of celebrating those that you love and family, and you all are our internet family. I don't actually know what that is, but thank you. And I hope that you get to enjoy Christmas, or if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you get to enjoy family regardless. I hope you get to enjoy a time with those that mean the most to you. I know I am going to, so there won't be an episode dropping on Christmas Day. However, we'll be right back with it, starting the day after Christmas. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button when it pops up so you don't miss any future content here on the podcast. You can find all the links to our social media accounts in the show notes at Movie Draft House, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, right here on YouTube. And don't forget, the podcast releases weekly every Thursday on your favorite podcast streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. We're there. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, you motherfuckers. I'm just kidding. I love you.